This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the live safari. We are here waiting for the sun to rise. It's actually a very pleasant morning, and we're just spending some time listening to what's going on around us. We can hear wildebeest, we can hear birds, and we are looking very, very forward to showing you what the bush has to hold for us this morning. So, warm welcome to the sunrise safari, and let's get on with the live safari. We've just been joined by that bird silhouetted on that branch over there, and it looks like, with that long stream of a tail, it looks like a lilac-breasted roller. Just look at the colors that we're experiencing this morning. The sun is just threatening to the right of the big tree and frame, so that sun within the next 3 or 4 minutes I'm sure will pick its head up. My name is Eric. We're here on And Beyond Ngala, and behind camera is Owen. And I'd just like to quickly show you what our plans are for the morning. So yesterday we spent a lot of time around this part of the river. That's where we sat and waited for that leopardess to get moving, and she eventually eluded us as she moved away from the river. We've decided to move more into this part of the reserve this morning, and that nice big pride of lions that we've got to know so well was seen yesterday, I think just at around 5 or 6 o'clock last night. So they might still be around this waterhole. If not, they might be down at that river. So we're going to start from here and make our way back up towards the waterhole. So hopefully some very exciting things, like I mentioned. Some lions. Owen's already promised us that he's going to find us some lions hunting buffaloes and all sorts of different interesting things this morning. And that sun is just coming. I mean, it's just so cool to be able to be sitting and watching the sunrise. And as we look out across this expanse of wilderness, it's just so amazing to know that there's just basically animals wherever we can set our eyes. Like I said, lots of birds are starting to wake up. That lilac-breasted roller looks like it's also waiting for the sun. So it seems like our roles have reversed from yesterday morning. I'm showing you the sunrise, and Lauren is going to show you the moon.
Good morning, good morning. Yes, I am showing you the moon. It's far too magnificent not to. 95.4% from my good old trusty moon app that I look at every single day. You can see it just glinting in the sky there. Now I've got many updates for you, but first things first, my name is Lauren and I do have David on camera today. Hello. So we went to the hyena den and no one's there. I will keep going to the hyena den until I find somebody. Now I'm going to keep moving because on that game path that we take to go to the hyena den, there's very fresh leopardess tracks, which is really interesting because just the other day, some of you may remember, the Nkahuma lioness also walks along that exact game path. So it's quite a prominent path that's used by many animals, and it just goes past the hyena den. So I'm gonna, now that the hyenas are not there, I'm most likely going to try and follow these leopardess tracks. I have no idea who it is, but the tracks are very small, which is making me think it's not Shadulu who's been around, as she's actually quite a big female, and her tracks are a lot bigger than the likes of Tandy. So we're very much looking forward to hear from you today on this extremely chilly morning. I'm going to guess here, I think it's 11 degrees Celsius and 51 degrees Fahrenheit. There you go. But my hands are not freezing this morning as they were yesterday, so it's pleasant. Now the hyena from yesterday, for those who were watching, we came across an injured hyena. I really didn't recognize it, but I didn't want to make an assumption because we couldn't see the spot pattern. We could only really see the face. And it's not a member of the Juma clan. Could be Elephant Plains clan, could be another clan, but it doesn't belong to the Juma clan. And when I went back to check on it, it was gone, which means it can walk, obviously. They don't fly. Hyenas don't fly. And it also went past the dam cam at around 8:30 last night. So it's wandering in the area and it's very injured. So maybe we will encounter this hyena today. It's feeling very sorry for itself, and I think it's going to do what all injured animals do, just rest. Stay away from everybody, stay away from communal areas, and just try and get a lot better before putting itself in that situation. So we don't know who that hyena was, but at least it's not one of the hyenas that we know. We have got screenshots of it now because it was on the dam cam, and at least we can try and pull out a spot pattern for when we see it again. But to be honest, that left ear that's flopped over, it's not going to recover. It's always going to have a floppy ear, which can help us identify it in the future. So hopefully, once we keep going back to the hyena den, we will see some individuals. Annalie, I would imagine so. I think it probably did have quite a rough night. It was feeling very sorry for itself yesterday. The wound on the ear, it was bleeding. There was fresh blood. So when we encountered this individual, the injury was relatively fresh. And I can only assume another hyena. That's going to be my guess. But just bear with me, everyone. It is a guess. I could be completely wrong, but I think it will have been a hyena battle, which made those, well, which gave those injuries. Okay, I'm going to go back to those tracks and see if we can try and find a leopardess for you all, as the sun is just about to pop over the horizon, and we're going to send you across to James to say good morning.
Hello, good morning. I hope you're all very well. I am okay. BK, I think, are you okay today, BK?
I'm okay.
BK is okay. That's fantastic. BK is okay. He'll give you his thumb to indicate that he's okay. There it is. Just wait for the writing. And back to the vultures. Now, we continue to be slightly confounded by things in this part of the world because there are vultures all over this block. We've had more flying in now in the morning when it is still cold, which is, well, strange if there isn't anything in here. We have had alarm calling impalas yesterday. I walked through here yesterday. I drove through here 4 or 5 times yesterday and came up with absolutely nothing. And so we are going to have to try again this morning because something died in this block. I don't know what it was. I'm beginning to think maybe Mulwati, the male leopard, has killed something here, and every time we've gone past him, he's just hidden out of the way. Anyway, we'll have another look through here this morning and then move on towards the east. You can ask us any questions that you might like to using the hashtag WildEarth on Twitter. Otherwise, the YouTube chat stream and the Twitch chat stream will suffice. And if you're very young, you may use the email address kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. So 2 white-backed vultures there. We've seen at least 5 flying into that general area this morning from 3 different directions. 1 from the west, 2 or 3 from the north, and then 1 from the southeast. So it's all kind of triangulating on an area around where those 2 are sitting. Somebody who's had a little bit more success than us already down in KwaZulu-Natal is Dumi.
Good morning, everyone. Here is Dumi from and Beyond Pinda Private Game Reserve. We just come up good luck this morning. We just located lion and lioness. They're busy mating. Okay. We'll try to see if we can come around and see if we can find them. Good, thanks. This is a wonderful, wonderful start for sure. Here we go. Wow, look at that. How beautiful she is. And he's a lovely man. Wow. Here we go. We'll come around there. See if we can get a nice view again from the other side. Okay guys, because they keep on moving it, as you can see them, while we're still here, we'll send you across to Ngala to just enjoy there.
Have a look at the scene that we have here. We've got the moon, that nice beautiful dead knobthorn that's just getting the morning light, and in the background you might just be able to see the Drakensberg mountains that are also getting the first light. But we've been joined by a couple of animals. The first one, quite noticeable, that big giraffe off to the right hand side, and there are a few more zebras around here. So we've got giraffe and a nice big herd of zebra. But that is just absolutely beautiful with that Drakensberg mountain in the background there. Let's see if we pan more left, we might be able to show you the zebras. They have just walked into the bushes, but it does look like there are a couple of giraffe that are moving out into the open. So if we give it a moment or two, the giraffe might come out. And this morning light is really beautiful. So there are those two zebra that I mentioned. At one point we had the zebra and the giraffe in one frame with the moon and the mountains in the background. It was really quite spectacular. And then another giraffe slightly further off to the left, with lots of zebra around it and behind it even. You can see the movement just by the left of its tail over there. It looks like this whole herd of zebra came up into these big open clearings, and they probably spent the night here. It's a slightly raised point, so you can see quite far around us, and it's quite important for them because they need to keep a lookout for predators around this area. And I mean, lions would definitely take the opportunity to try and hunt these zebra if they get the opportunity. So 50, it certainly is a gorgeous scene. We were on the mission to try and get into the area of where those lions were last left yesterday, and we drove past the scene and we thought it's way too beautiful not to show everyone what it's like. That giraffe walking across it. There's at least 3 or 4 giraffe here actually. Some zebra. I heard of wildebeest a little bit earlier on. I haven't seen that yet, but it's a phenomenal start to our morning. All of these animals seem very relaxed. They're taking in the nice cool weather of the morning and just taking advantage of and trying to feed as much as they can. So they all seem pretty focused on getting their feed, and zebra and giraffe both very different. Indiegogo, yeah, it almost looks like that zebra would walk straight through the giraffe's legs, and that size comparison, like you say, is really cool. This one that we've got in frame, the giraffe at least, is certainly a big male. He must be in his prime, so he won't get taller than that. And the two zebras on the left of it look like they're also adults. I don't know how far away. It almost looks like it's in danger of getting kicked by the giraffe if it walks that close, but I don't think they're that close to one another. And maybe that zebra is about 2 meters behind it. Yeah. There we go. How cool is that frame? We've got the zebra directly in between the giraffe's legs. Just needs to pick up its head and look at us. There we go. That was the moment right there. And I love, you can literally see how the sun is rising and the lighting on the giraffe is increasing minute by minute. He was almost completely in shade, and now most of him is in the sunlight already. Got very, very defined patterns, this giraffe. Bear claw does look like an illusion, and that's why I'm saying I think that zebra might be a little bit further back than we think. I don't think it's right underneath the giraffe, but it's certainly close enough to have a wonderful view. There's this one's coming back here, Owen. This one on the right hand side. Now that most of these animals have started to move into the thickets, myself and Owen are going to continue and see what else we can find for the morning.
Welcome back, everyone, again. This is like a very stationary now, which is very good. They might start doing their business again. As you can see, they're just lying down for now. We're waiting for them. They might move across to us, passing us as normal. So we'll sit and watch what's going to happen. As you can see, the lioness, she looks very tired now. Must be have a long night. Oh, look at that yawn. Look at their teeth. Amazing. He's just watching her. Daniela, that biggest male lion, he can get up to 250 kg. This is a big male lion. Like this is around 200 kg, that one we've got now. Oh, gosh. Daniel. Wow, she doesn't want to. Wow, look at that. What, she said, no, I have enough. Okay. Wow, look. Sound is incredible, eh? Wow, she's just lying, rolling over. It's a lovely start for the morning. Look at this beautiful sun shining direct to them, which is amazing to see that. So it's a lovely day as well. It looks like he's also going to lie down just to give a bit more rest. Wow, it must be something she picked her up there. You see the way she's looking. Not too sure what it is. could be something she heard. No, she's gonna lie down. As you can see, they came from that direction. Not sure where the rest of the pride. And because she's one of the mountain pride lioness, and she just hooked up with that male now. They must be separate from yesterday, because yesterday we did manage to find like 4 Sabarat all by themselves. I was wondering where she was, but now I know why. They've chosen a good place to be around. Nice open area up on this mountain, which is beautiful morning for them as well. Scott, the question is, it depending in the area, in a pride, they can easily get like 10 to 15, because also help when they're hunting, especially like a big mammal like a buffalo. But usually they can be like 10, 7, but usually they can be like 10, same pride. What is that? Wow, he looks like he's getting more tired of he's trying to get more energy. Anytime they can get up and start walking again, because it's still nice and cooler. That's how. Wow, awesome! Wow, awesome sighting. Love, especially for a lovely day like this. It's amazing. Look how beautiful is Maine. Always is beautiful to see lion and lioness together like this. I'm just getting to see what she's keep on looking around. Because I got no idea where his brother, because his brother was in the south yesterday, and he came back last night, and it looks like he hasn't get a chance to. He's not welcome to join this. So I was just wondering if she's not trying to find him, because she will make sure his brother also get a chance to mate as well. Otherwise, there's no survival for the cubs. So but he won't like that. But she has no choice. She have to make sure. Look his size of his paw, and you can see how big it is. Okay, guys, we'll be here for a little while to see what's going to happen. While we are here, we'll send you across to Jen into Juma. Enjoy there, guys. See you later.
Well, we've solved our mystery. We've come across a hyena eating a carcass of something, probably an impala. It smells pretty fresh, so it doesn't smell rotten at all. It must have been here. Yesterday we drove through this area 4 or 5 times, David and I, We couldn't find anything. We didn't hear any sounds of feeding. And so I suspect there was a leopard lying in this thicket. And that leopard has been chased off, I would say relatively recently, by this hyena. And it is now polishing off what we think is an impala, but we haven't seen nicely. Now that's a bit grim, but just have a look at this magnificent white-backed vulture that is, for some reason, decided it is not afraid of humans. And it is sitting only, what, BK, 5 meters from us, maybe? It's just magnificent. Look at it. All the other vultures got up and flew off and were sitting in the trees around us, but this fellow, this fellow is sitting watching the meal, thinking to himself, I'm pretty sure that those human things won't harm me, so if this hyena looks up for 1 second, I'm going to get in there and grab something. I suspect this was an adult male impala, a big one. Yeah, it is an impala. Don't you think there, BKS? We saw it lift his legs. Not lift his legs, we saw the hyena lift his legs. Now the question is the leopard around? Or has it given up and moved off? And you can see that this hyena is relatively nervous. Let's just wait here and see. Yeah, it's an impala. Maybe it's definitely not an adult male. Yeah, Karen, the vulture most certainly is as large as the hyena almost. He's not nearly as heavy or strong. Just a bit of alarm calling from the other birds around here, and I wondered if maybe the predator that was responsible for this wasn't about to hare in here and try and steal something back. Daniela, it depends on what the hyena's eaten. It's a very common question, this. And it's a very unsatisfying answer normally we give because there's really no straight answer to it. It's just like you. You know, if you eat a very big meal, you're not going to need to eat for the next little while. If you have half a strawberry for breakfast, you're going to be hungry again in about half an hour. It's exactly the same with hyenas. It's just those periods are expanded and the amount of food they can eat is expanded. So if he was to eat a lizard of some description, then he'd be hungry again very soon. But after this meal, you know, he'd quite happily go probably 3 or 4 days without a meal. Ooh, that sound is just amazing, isn't it? Yes, I think it's slightly crunchier than a good quality green apple there, Emma. So he keeps looking up to the south there. I wonder if that's where the hapless leopard isn't waiting. So I think killed sometime yesterday afternoon. There we go. It's a young impala. Pretty gross. Pretty grim. Head is gone. But isn't it astounding that the vultures managed to find this thing somehow? I mean, it was so well hidden in here. Now, which leopard was responsible, we don't know, but I suspect it was our pal Mulwati, because he doesn't hoist his kills. And there are some imminently hoistable trees around us. And I don't know, that's not a massive impala. You know, I think a leopard with a quarter of a brain would have put it up a tree if that was what they did. Ooh, there goes a leg. Gonna get pretty grim. Ugh. It's like, ugh. I guess it gives you an idea of the power in a hyena's jaws. Imagine how hungry these vultures must be getting watching this lot going on. Let's shift very slowly in my seat and see if I can see anything behind us. BK, my earpiece fell out. As she said, you can send us over to TAYLA. Oh, Taylor's got something very exciting.
Good morning. My name is MCCURDY, but I'm not going to waste time with all of this on camera. Is Gert, but up in front of us, we have got 2 wild dogs, and there's about 5 of them running around. We've been chasing after them all morning. We were actually out looking for lions when we got a call that some dogs had come for a drink at the eco training dam. So we very, very quickly made the move, and we shifted a couple of gears, and we've been trying to get them in a signal area and out on the road. But a pretty epic morning. Now I can breathe because the adrenaline has been pumping through my veins. Also, I can start to feel my face now. This is awesome. So I'm not sure of which pack it is. I've only seen a wild dog a handful of times. In the last pack I saw there were 24 members, but I don't think that this is the same pack. And there they go. They are hunting. They've already chased some impala around, but they weren't successful. I think they are looking for their morning meal, which is exciting. There's a third dog that's just come out onto the road. Now, the road that we are driving down and along, there are big power pylons that run from Palabora all the way into Hoedspruit, so you are going to see them, but it's a main sort of cut through road. But we have to, of course, pick up the pace so that we can keep up with the dogs. There's the 4th dog now. There should be 1 more, and that could pop out at any moment. But how cool! There it is. Oh, there's more. There's 6. I'm just gonna. Sorry, Gert. I'm just gonna roll behind them until we get past this power line. Hi, puppies. And then we should get a view here. There we go. That's very nice. So please remember to take some screenshots for us, because it's interesting to figure out which dogs are which, as we have a wilderness area where people live called the Wildlife Estate, just outside or just inside Hoedspruit, and that's on our southern boundary. And the dogs come in and out and go into that sort of suburban area too. So there should be a lot of IDs on these dogs. Sorry, I'm just going to move forward. Sorry. Albeit I can't take any credit for this. unfortunately. It was all the guys at camp. They just hadn't left yet because the students are working on their apprenticeship trails. Apprentice trails? Sorry, tongue-tied there. So basically they backed up walking qualification, the first one that you get. The dogs have gone in there, so I'm just going to take Marula Lane. And they obviously can't leave as early as we do. You can't be walking around in the dark. So it was really awesome that they were having their tea and coffee, and, you know, what a better way than to stand out at Ndlovu Dam, and then some dogs arrived. So this is the exciting thing about this time of the year and in this area, is that there isn't a lot of water around. So it's going to be a lot easier to find animals because they're going to be drawn into pretty much 3 areas on Pridelands. But the 2 main ones, Leopard Dam, which is up ahead. I'm just looking for the dogs, apologies. And then, of course, Ndlovu Dam, where we always see the elephants swimming. So now this is the tricky part, is that the grass is still fairly tall here, but just a little bit further in, now we have to try and figure out where they've gone. Oh, there they are. Okay, hold on. Just going to pick up the pace a little bit. Now we should get a nice clear count of them. They're just up in front of. If you're going to run, puppies, go to the dam, please. They are on their way towards Leopard Dam. Okay. Sorry for the signal break up, but it will be worth it. Just going to quickly down these trees. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dogs. One of them's got a very short tail, so I'm just taking note of things. Oh, sorry, my phone you'll hear because I was listening to messages of where the dogs are. That one's got a very short tail in the middle, and there's a second one that's also got a short tail. But this is so good to see them. I mean, it's not all the time that we get to see wild dogs, and we know that they can cover such huge distances, that they're here today and gone 10 minutes later, not even gone tomorrow. So I'm always really thrilled to see wild dogs. But we're going to have to go up and carry on to keep up with them, unfortunately. But what we'll do is we'll try and keep up with them. But off you go across to Lauren, who's sitting with some spots or trying to look for spots, one of the two.
I am Kuchava and Cub are about to cross this road any moment now. We want to get a visual of them because once they cross, they're going to go into Torchwood. So we have been informed it's going to happen any minute now. I'm just going to turn this radio down, but I wonder if we've been a bit premature. For those of you who maybe are not sure who Kuchava is, she's a female leopardess and she is our Queen Tandy's daughter. She's a gorgeous leopardess and she has a cub, a young male. And they're always on Chitwa. Chitwa's an area we can traverse, but Torchwood is not. So she's apparently about to cross this road. And it would be so wonderful to see her. I've not seen Kuchava in quite some time. And both of them are mobile. They're not on a kill. Oh, Kuchava, darling, where are you? I think we may have to sit with our patience pants on. Shall we go a little bit forward, Davi? The other vehicle's moving. I'm just going to watch the other vehicle. I know that many of you will be really excited to see Kuchava. She's absolutely stunning. It'd be wonderful if she actually wasn't mobile and she was flat in the block. That would be ideal. Okay, we do have another vehicle coming towards us that's also looking for her. We may have to stop and talk to them. Morning greetings. I'm afraid we are going to have to say hello to this vehicle. So while I do that, we are going to send you back across to James with his hyena. Is she in there?
Hyena is moving in a circle with a headless impala. It has picked the thing up in its jaws and is now wandering off towards the south. Oh, we're going to get stuck if we try and go there. We've done a fair amount of that in the last little while. This is totally bizarre. Oh no. It's not going anywhere near a den site at this stage. Going off towards that termite mound. You see it, BK? 1 o'clock. You still see it? 12 o'clock. BK can see it, everyone. I can't. Oh, there it is. All right, let's go back to TAYLA and her dogs.
We've got the wild dogs chasing all the impala around now. They're on the road. They have no idea what they're doing. It was really cool to watch them. They sort of had their shoulders down trying to use the length of the grass to hide themselves. And now they've chased them everywhere. I can only see one dog at the moment. I don't know, see if I can try and get a view, but I don't know if I can get a view just yet. Let's just see. No, they've all gone. But this is very typical of the dogs to spread out like this. I'm going to quickly go and see if they've gone to Leopard Dam. But some of them ran in here, and then one ran across here. Here comes a dog. Sorry, everyone, it's going to be very jumpy and all of these types of things that they come bounding in. Unfortunately, no luck for them. But they're persistent. And remember, they can keep this up for hours and hours. They're not like a leopard or a lion or a cheetah that tires after just 1 or 2 attempts. They are built for stamina and can run and run and run. So 2 now crossing. Probably going to go back and see if they can regain and join the rest of the pride. Didn't hear anything, so it's hard to say if they did maybe catch an impala in here already. There's another road that goes around. I don't know if this is going to be... No, they're coming back. Just trying to get you a gap. There you go. There, the dogs are meeting up again. So that means that they were not successful. They're going to run maybe straight towards us. They're running back again. So it's just the 4 of them. And we did count 6. So I was whispered some information. Apparently this pack was seen in Royal Malawan last week sometime. So they're doing a fair amount of travelling, and that's in the thorny bush area. Sorry, it's a bit difficult. There's no vehicle behind me here. How far back? Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure that I do not crash into a car. That would be devastating. I'm just going to reverse into the bushes. Yeah, sorry, it's gonna be super tough. You can just see them in the dust there. Isn't that beautiful? That is really, really amazing. It's all the dust that's just been kicked up from the vehicles driving around. But you'll be surprised when those dogs run, they also kick up a fair bit of dust. And of course on Marula Lane, our favorite road. So it is rather gorgeous. Okay, well, we're going to just try and keep up with the dogs and stick with them for most of the morning. Off you go across to Pinda to see what's happening there.
Welcome back, everyone, again. We're still here with these beautiful animals. They're still stationary at the moment, but they every and again they get up again, get busy themselves. So we'll wait and see what's going to happen. As you can see, the male is just dozing and here, same thing. While you're not around, they were just busy, something active earlier. So, but soon they'll do it again. Look how beautiful his face, eh? Because they are surrounding but from distance. Every and again, you could hear some impala ratting as well. So that's why they keep on lifting their head and listening. But yeah, very lazy. And it's amazing that he doesn't want his brother now because he's busy with the lioness. But as soon as he's done, he's gonna go back to join his brother to make sure they patrolling all the territory because they have to. Because when the new calves get born, they need to be protective as well. Oops, here we go. Go left again. How lovely is that? Right next to her. Well, quite a nice size. Even I'm not quite sure how many centimeters, but it's quite a big size, almost size of my hand. I've got quite a big hand, but his paw is almost. Okay, as you can see, guys, these lines are going flat again. So we'll be here. We'll send across to Roran with some leopard there. Try and find some leopard.
Hey, Kachava. I can't see the cub, but the two of them were traveling together. Oh! Well, there you go. Camouflage. Oh, you're looking so much older. That cub has grown a fair bit. It's a male. She's gonna walk in front of the car. Crossing right into Torchwood. This is Gowrie male. Look at that shadow. Oh, Kachava girl, give us more than that. The cub's there. A little bit nervous. Now, what we have noticed is this cub is not great around vehicles. It's got so big. Gonna run after Mom. So big. And unfortunately, everyone, off into Torchwood they go. Heartbreaking. Heartbreaking stuff. But any view was better than no view. So that's Kuchava and Cub. Oh, Rosemary, thank you. You're saying that was everything, though. Thank you, Rosemary. I'm glad it was worth the wait. Patience pants, put them on, sit and wait it out, and it's always worth it. And there's a lot of thank you. There's a lot of vehicle traffic at the moment, so I'm just going to let everyone move, but we won't be able to give you any more views of Kuchava. Ah, okay. good start to the morning though, I think, and I think I must go back and check my hyena den. So this is Torchwood, and this is Chitwa. And we can traverse Chitwa, but sadly not Torchwood. So that's why we're not going in, everyone. We don't have traverse there. Let's try and see if we can see a spot. One single spot moving off. I doubt it. Now, Kuchava's territory is very much to the east. She doesn't come onto Djuma, she really doesn't. She stays on the Torchwood side, which is eastern property to Djuma, and then Chitwa. So she covers a large wedge to the east of us. And of course she's royalty. Tlalamba's half-sister, Tandi's daughter, and Kuchava's father is believed to be Mvula. She had a litter of cubs, I think, last year that wasn't successful, sadly. And she had 2 cubs this time, but only 1 cub survived. And it's a little boy, and he must be over 7 months now. So he must be reaching the 8 months mark. He's younger than Sibui's cubs, but he's looking big. Long, he's definitely growing. But he seems to be really, really skittish, and I wonder if something happened to him and his sibling. And obviously the sibling is no longer with us, and this has made him slightly skittish. But that was a good side thing. Very happy we managed to capture it for you. So we are going to head back into Djuma now, and as we do that, we're going to send you guys across to Dylan to say good morning.
Good morning! Good morning everyone from a beautiful day, another beautiful day out at Tswala Kalahari. Jean-Ray and myself, Dylan, we're going to be just adventuring out here again today as always, trying to see what we can find, and it's great having you all with us again as always. We are doing our normal morning stakeout at the meerkats. We're not going anywhere. There's and dare I say it, because I don't want to jinx it, and I've got a bad habit of jinxing things like that, but there's a pretty good chance, no, I shouldn't say that, there's no chance of seeing these pups this morning, absolutely nothing whatsoever. We will not see meerkat pups this morning, but maybe we will, you never know. But I'm just going to stick here, we're not going anywhere.
We are indeed having a great morning, Dylan, after 24 hours of pretty much nothing. The wild dogs are coming around and running about. They went back to exactly where we were. You can just see them. The rest of the pack is about to cross the road. Dun, 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 dun. They are on the move. Look at them bouncing about. Look at how cool this is. I don't know if they've seen a duiker or something and they're chasing after it. This is so great with all of the dust. Look how excited they are. Now, wild dogs do play a lot as well. It's very, very important for wild dogs to play, as it helps, I suppose they're socializing and they're strengthening the bond with one another. Oh, this is so cool. Right past the vehicle. Magic. Oh, there's one dog is calling. I think it's, okay. Now, sorry, Gert, hold on, there's a dog that's calling, going. Now, when they do that, I wonder if it's caught something. He's calling the rest of the pack. This is also one of my favorite things to do, is to be side by side with wild dogs on a dirt road. It really doesn't get much better than this. Come on, dogs, take us to a kill. Hold on, there's a big bump here. Ugh. Neat, we'll fix that. Okay, I can still see them bounding. The call didn't sound too far away. That waking up first thing in the morning and hearing that sound, that I can't do a wild dog call very well. Okay, they dashing in now. Oh, I think I'm just trying to think, I don't know if the road is quite far away. I just want to hear if I can hear that other dog calling again. Oh my goodness, it's so thick in there. I don't know if we're going to be able to. Okay, someone's going in there to follow them, which is perfect. I'm going to be able. I don't know what to do now. I'm like in two minds because the road is so far away. Do I go in? Do I go out? I don't know what to do. But while I figure out what I need to do to try and get a view of these dogs, I'm going to send you back across to the east where Ngala is, and it seems like they're having a good day too.
We are taking a quick little diversion from the plan of looking for those lions, and the only reason we're doing that is because we found tracks of a single cheetah that was walking in this direction. And we don't see cheetah very often at all here at Ngala, so I thought it might be worth just giving it a quick little half-an-hour search, just do a quick little loop around. If we get lucky, we get lucky. If we don't, then we can always continue back in the direction of where the tracks of the Pride of Lions was heading towards. So, the reason why we decided to check here, obviously the tracks were coming straight in this direction, but within these areas there's these nice big open clearings that you can see ahead of us. And within those clearings provides quite a good area for you to scan around and look, just like I mentioned the zebra might be doing. So it's good for prey species, I guess, like impalas, zebras, wildebeest, to come and congregate into these areas, which then will draw cheetah into them. And everyone knows that cheetah is a very, very explosive, very fast animal, and so they really rely on these nice big open spaces to reach the speeds that they need to get to try and successfully hunt something. It's always worth checking here. It's still really nice and cool. There's quite a strong breeze blowing at the moment, and so I think it would probably be taking this time of the morning to be moving around and hunting. So I'm just checking carefully pretty much wherever we look, seeing whether it might be using the tree line as some cover, so it might be sitting in the shade, or it could even try and find a little spot of elevation to scan just a little bit further in. I do see, Odin, there's a nice big bird of prey that we can quickly have a look at on the big marula on the left there. Let's see. Looks like it's spending some time soaking up the sun. Really, really nice pigs of brown, quite a lot of different shades of brown, and this looks like a tawny eagle. And this is pretty much one of the only raptors, or I guess the most common eagle that we see at this time of year. A lot of the eagles have started to migrate. The biggest one that we do find around here is a martial eagle, and then it's pretty much the martial and the tawny eagle that we see. And because there's a slightly less or lower density, at least, of these big birds of prey, we've been noticing a lot of the smaller birds of prey that have been making an appearance in the winter time. It'd be nice to see things like shikras. Okay, yeah, so I think we'll carry on from here and see if we can quickly do that loop to see if the cheetah tracks come out. But we'll send you across to Juma, where there's some birds fighting to the death.
Battle royale here between two crested franklins, deeply dissatisfied with each other's presence. Either that or they're about to mate. I'm not sure which. I think it's a fight. Naturally now taking place behind a tree. Let me just shift forward slightly. How's that? All right? More? So one behind us getting in. What's a noise? Now we're going trotting over behind us because there's another franklin that side. I think he's going to have a go at that one. Let me just go back. I can hear the other one. I can see the other one actually, because just the other side of this little drainage ditch. You see our first pal. Oh, there he goes. He's just gone in there. Territory, Linda. Territory and ladies. Same thing that most males fight over. He's just gone into, yeah, exactly where you're looking. He's just in there. And now there's one coming from the right. Let's just keep our eye there. There, can you see the one now coming from the right? There we are, well spotted. Muttering now. Gone. That was fascinating. Angry Franklins. We're heading off towards a waterhole now. Sorry, Kiki, I missed that. They do it so well, or something like that. Is that what you said? They blend in so well. Yes, they do. They do blend. Beautiful colours. They're not dull at all if you look at them closely. Heading towards... Oh, look at that, BK. Our cup runneth over this morning. There is a steenbok. Now, unfortunately, we left our hyena because he disappeared into some very thick bush, and I think he's going back towards the den, so we might go around there a little bit later. There's a steenbok. You're now going to another animal of the clearings.
We've got one of the pairs of blackback jackal that I don't think I've actually seen, and I'm very surprised that they are obliging and just relaxing in the open sun this morning. Not really paying too much attention to us, and it must only be about maybe 20-25 meters away from us. Not often you get to see it sitting like this. Usually they watch you and then they'll inevitably turn and scamper away from you. It's so nice to see, and it's found itself in a little bare patch where it's just basically open sand and there's grass around it, and I think that is a spot where a wildebeest has come to mark its territory. And because of it constantly coming into the same area and scraping the ground, it's just removed all of the roots from the grasses. And so I wonder if a jackal would make use of one of those wildebeest middens to mark its territory itself. Seems to have at least be listening into the bushes behind us. And there's actually a couple more jackals. You see them, Owen? So I'll try and get my head out of the way, and they're all basically in one line facing away from us. So that's the other one, and then the other one is quite a lot further back. And those two there seem quite a lot lighter. They don't really have as defined markings as the one that we've just been watching lying. So this could be two youngsters that are basically reaching maturity now, by the looks of things. So maybe it's a parent with two older pups. Yeah, I think there might even be another one. Yeah. Alamo, yeah, they are definitely at home, and this would be their territory, I guess. So somewhere along this area there would have been a small little burrow that the female would have given birth to the pups, and they would pretty much hang around this area, at least for the pups, until they reach maturity. Sometimes they'll stay for another generation and stick with the mother and father. And so they'll spend a lot of time moving through these open grasslands looking for little things to feed on. So small little grubs, mice. They can sometimes hunt slightly bigger things like big birds. I've seen photos of jackals hunting Corey bustards before, which is pretty much the heaviest land bird, at least, or flying land bird. And so they are capable, if they work together, in hunting quite big things, but usually it's like little rodents and mice and a few other things. And also, I guess, they're scavengers, so you know they're pretty agile, and so they're sometimes quite confident around a pride of lions who are feeding, and they'll walk straight up to maybe 2-3 meters away from these lions, and they'll dart in, try and steal a piece of meat, and dart back out. And so they are quite tenacious. Some of the most entertaining sightings I've had is at Pinder. We would often see female cheetahs with their cubs walking through grasslands, and they'll sometimes flush out a jackal like this. It's a side-striped jackal in Pinder, not a black-backed. And these youngsters would play around with the jackal, so they wouldn't quite catch it. But you could see this jackal sprinting away at full speed, and then the cheetah cubs would basically be trotting and just running right next to the jackal. And they'll play around with it for a little bit. The jackal would bite and try and fight back, and then eventually... So Karen, you're asking if jackals and foxes are in the same family, and they are certainly relatives. They look very, very similar. I mean, we've got a couple of different fox species in southern Africa. The one that to me looks the most similar is called a Cape fox, and I'll quickly show you what it looks like. Here we go. So these are two little Cape foxes here, and they look pretty much exactly the same as a jackal. So all kind of part of the canine family. There's another species of fox that we get. It's called a bat-eared fox, which you have probably seen once or twice when you are up with Dylan in the Kalahari up at Swalu. And then a couple more throughout Africa. Yeah. Let's see. So those are basically the species of foxes that we find in southern Africa, and then these ones that you saw here you find throughout. So this is I've actually never seen that one before. It's called a Ruppel's fox, and you see it all the way up in the northern part of Africa. Looks like a very, very sweet little thing. That one too, a fennec. Who would have known? Didn't even know there was a thing called a fennec, but there you go. I think, Owen and now we're going to start heading and just completing this block. We would like to, before it starts warming up, move back into the area of where these lions are going. So our last little spot is a waterhole. If there's no cheetah there, then we'll start heading back towards where the lions are.
Wild Earth relies on support from viewers like you to carry on broadcasting our daily live shows. A small donation goes a long way in helping us on our mission to connect the world with nature. Please visit our support page to see how you can help and become part of the Wild Earth family.
Welcome back again. We are still here with these two beautiful animals. They're just going very lazy again. But they were busy maybe like 5 to 10 minutes ago. So they might be start again pretty soon. Let's hope they're going to do it. It would be nice to see them moving a little bit as well. So as you can see, they're just enjoying a morning sunlight direct to them. So it's been really cold last night. So for now, they're just enjoying for the morning. As you can see, he's just like putting his head down, closing his eyes. Not because he's sleeping, he's just like resting for a little bit. He's going to be up operating anytime. beautiful, beautiful animal. In a beautiful place as well. Wow, just keep on checking whatever movement. Scott, this lion is part of the big pride, and especially that lioness, she's one of the like 8 in the pride. But the male, he have 2 different pride he's operating. He has this pride, and there's another pride also up on the western part of the reserve, which is 2 different pride of this male. He has a brother, which is a big pride for them, for the 2 of them, Scott. Looks like he might be start again, get active, guys. As you can see, she's start yawning. Oh, here we go. They started again. Listen to the sound, if you can hear. Nice. Wow. They're not as aggressive like as the others sometimes. Look at this, look at his shape. He's looking at, there were some volunteers earlier barking around, so he keep on checking around if there's anything moving around. So, whoop. Very nice if they move again. Wow. It looks like she's got a limp. I don't know why on the left front foot. She's got, after for a long time sleeping, I think she must get like a stiff or got a small cut there. That's why she's got kind of limping when she walks like that. She's gonna lie down twitching the twigs. He's following her. I think it's not a perfect spot for them to lie down. Might be a lot of sticks in there. Okay, guys. As you can see, the guys all goes dozing now. We'll send you across back to Kalahari in Tswaro. Enjoy it, guys. We'll see you soon.
The sun is well up about 5 minutes ago, and I'm just going to move across here a little bit. But directly between me and Gendry now, it's these burrow systems right here. In fact, the ones closest to Gendry, that's I think where they're going to be coming up, and we think that's where the youngsters are, the pups. But I mean, we're just taking a guess, and you can see that one is very, very smooth on the edge, so there's been a lot of digging over there. Whereas all of these other ones, it's just the normal tracks around the outside and that. So that one there where there's been a lot of excavation going on, I think they've been maintaining that burrow. So if I had to take an absolute flying guess here, I'd say that's probably where they're going to be popping out. But soon. Oh, here's one just to the right, to the left there, to the right. I've got 2 choices, left or right. Okay, but we're talking about the pups, where the pups are going to come out. Yeah, I did get there eventually. No laughing, please. This is a very serious situation. Good morning, little meerkat. Is this the day? Could it be? Possibly. Ooh. So that's little, that looks like the alpha female. Or not. Let me put my eyes on it. Yeah, that's the alpha female.
Now this is an unusual sight for this time of the year. This is something one normally associates with rain and summer. And it is obviously a millipede. And I know there have been a few up in the Kalahari. And when I was up there, sort of 3 months ago or so, there were hundreds of these things. But this is a giant millipede, and they're not very common here, and certainly not at this time of the year. You'd expect to find them coming out after a bit of winter rain, if there was winter rain. But there hasn't been any winter rain, so I'm not sure why this vast, many-legged creature has decided to emerge from whatever burrow it was in. It's moving very slowly, on account of the fact that I suspect it's still quite cold. It's a slightly warmer day than it has been, so maybe it's just because of the temperature that he's out, or she's out. You can see I'm being very brave lying this close to it, because it is almost certainly attacking me. I wonder if it's a very old one, because it looks like a lot of its legs are not actually moving anymore. They're just sort of hanging there like passengers. Some of them have been bitten off and lost. Bad luck, old fellow. And I probably won't pick it up because it might relieve itself on me, and it's quite evil smelling. It's quite fun. Now, it's not the only one that's been around here. You can see it's left quite a nice track. You'll see that, BK? There it is. And if I go a little bit further on here, I bet you won't be able to see this. Can you see down here? Can you? You can see another one. Not. Okay. Another one did come across the road where I'm sitting here. So it's not like they're entirely alone, or this chap's entirely alone. Good luck, my friend. May you pass into Torchwood in a state of happiness, and may you find whatever it is that you're looking for on this, winter's morning. Fantastic. Let us continue. And Carl, I would give the millipede some socks, but I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but socks are basically, Djuma is the place that socks come to die or disappear. And the problem became so bad at one stage that Steph bought himself, I think he bought himself a pair of socks for 14 days. So he bought himself 14 pairs of socks so that he would have enough over a 6-week period. He thought, over that period, surely I'll manage to make them last. And within a week, he had only 1 pair left. So, it's just not possible to get enough socks in one place here to get them for a millipede. I don't know if you've seen these particular socks of mine. They're quite spectacular. These are my lion socks. I think they go rather well with my shoes. Please excuse the chicken leg to which they're attached. Let's now go over to the meerkats and see if they're wearing socks. I don't think they are.
So we've got two that have popped out. There's actually a third one that popped out a little bit closer as well, but that one went straight back down. Distance is still quite long. From where I'm standing now, this is about 20 yards from them, 17 yards, 17 meters. And my shadow is actually just in front of the burrow. And they're watching something far down there in the distance. What are you guys watching? Lots of birds flying over, doves and things. There's a cheetah on the dune there. And a leopard with cubs as well. Very nice. But let's focus on the meerkats for now. No, I'm just kidding. There's no cheetah on the dune and no leopard with cubs that I can see. There was a single brown hyena that had actually passed just where oh, there's a sable bull. That's what the meerkats were watching. There's a big sable bull, a huge sable bull. I'll tell you when he comes out. There's out in the open. I think he's still obscured from John Dre now, so give it a bit of time. When he walks a little bit further down, we'll actually cut him. But just so you know, just for now, there's a sable bull walking in the distance. But we'll have a look at him just now. But that's, again, we hadn't seen that animal, but these meerkats had picked it up before we did. So whether they were actually seeing it, or which I doubt just from their height, but I think something had drawn their attention to it there. And that's what they had picked up on, even before we did. The old Gendre's panning to it. There we go. You got him, Gendre? Yay, look at that. Good man, well done. What a beautiful animal, eh? So those are the bulls, the females, that lovely, rich, russety, well, actually, color sable. And black color. It's not a particularly old bull. He's still got a lot of growing to do. Those horns aren't that long yet. But what a sight, eh? That's the thing, when you're in your garden, just take note of what birds are doing. And, you know, if you've got a dog and it looks in a direction, it's telling you things, it's giving you clues about what's going on around you. And the same, if you're following a leopard or sitting with a herd of impala or whatever it is, animals give you clues constantly.
If I had a sable bull in front of me, I think that's what I would be keeping an eye on. I'm very jealous of that. I believe they had a roan as well yesterday, which is equally spectacular, if not more so. So, what you're looking at there is a little group of squirrels enjoying the morning. And quite interestingly, while it looks like the rear couple is in the process of coupling, I don't actually think that's the case. And I say that because every little group of squirrels I see are attached to each other in exactly that manner. And this is not the typical breeding season for squirrels, and I think it's purely just a way of keeping warm. That's their way of cuddling. And in fact, if you look at that little grouping, it's a youngster with an older one. Doesn't it just look like the most perfect place to warm up? Safe up top, full sun, all your friends, and as I like to say fairly often, the only thing missing there is a good espresso or cappuccino and a freshly baked croissant. Because everyone should have a freshly baked croissant in the morning. or as we say in South Africa, a croissant. Emma reckons that this scene calls for a pain au chocolat. Yes, I wouldn't mind one of those either. Linda, it depends entirely what you mean by family. So I don't think it's a nuclear family with mummy, daddy and 2 babies. I think it is most likely the standard squirrel situation of a couple of females and their attendant offspring. I think that's how it goes. So no, I don't think it's a family in the way that you and I would think of a family. In terms of a squirrel family, yes, it's a squirrel family. That makes sense? Let me just quickly check. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. Let me just quickly check this, unless there's something absolutely crucial that you need to rush off to. Yes, while the tree squirrel is sometimes solitary, pairs of small family parties comprising a female with 2 or 3 young may be seen. So, either solitary, in pairs, or in small family parties comprising a female with 2 or 3 young. Viljoen found that groups consisted of 1 or 2 adult males or females accompanied by sub-adults. Yeah, so it's a kind of variable group, but not a nuclear family. Daddy tends to have very little to do with child raising, as in all mammals, just about, except the human. Right, off you go to wherever it is that you're going to go.
We've come towards this waterhole to see what we can find, and there's been some really pretty bird life. That yellow bird in pictures called a yellow-throated canary, and then, or yellow-fronted at least, and then directly behind it is that iconic African fish eagle. And as we show you the waterhole, we'll pan out. It's a beautiful scene here. So we've got quite a large waterhole. It's a waterhole that we don't really come to very often. We're all the way in the western part of the reserve, and there's quite a lot of animals that are coming to take advantage of this nice big open space. You might be able to see on the water, there's quite a lot of wind blowing from the dam onto us. There's lots of activity going on. So there we go, there's a crocodile. It's one of the only ones that we see in this waterhole, and it's obviously taking the opportunity to sunbathe and get some warmth. So it hasn't really moved in the last little while. And then we've got a nice big herd of waterbuck. It's a few hundred meters behind it, and there's some wildebeest, there's some impala. So there's quite a lot going on around this waterhole here. And this is the place that we wanted to come and have a look for that cheetah one last time before we resumed our search with those lions. And as we were driving the last road, got onto the road, and tracks of the whole pride of lions started walking straight down towards this waterhole. And so we decided to stop and listen and just see what was going on. The waterbuck are very relaxed resting. There's impalas in the background. There's a wildebeest or 2 in there too. So it doesn't seem like these lions are here. So they either haven't arrived or they came last night and they've already moved off. I wouldn't be surprised if they came to have something to drink last night and they would have continued moving away from the waterhole, so to the left of where those waterbucks are. See, ooh, let's see if it lands. I just saw one of those small raptors I mentioned a little bit earlier on, but it flew straight across and disappeared, unfortunately, so we won't be able to ID that one. one of... Yeah. Critter Freak, I'm glad you're excited about the crocodile. This is pretty much the only waterhole in the whole of the reserve that we have the potential of finding a crocodile, and sometimes we see 2 or 3 of them, sometimes it's just the one. But very, very close to this one there is another waterhole, so if the other 2 aren't here, they're more than likely in the other waterhole. We were actually a little bit concerned last season because this waterhole was almost completely dry, and we were wondering where these crocodiles would have ended up, and they would have had to move to try and find water. But luckily we had such a good amount of rain, it's filled it up quite nicely, and this should carry us through into the winter time. I mean, into the next summer at least. Let's see if we can find any water birds. I don't think there are too much around here. Megan, there's lots of variety around here, and I mean, this is the one thing I love about coming to a waterhole at winter time, is it's just so full of life. And so if there's not too much going on in terms of the mammals or the reptiles, there's lots of bird life that's happening. These birds come down to drink pretty much throughout the day. So it'll be interesting. So we've got impalas, we've got wildebeest, waterbuck, hippo. That's 4 different species of mammals, 1 reptile with the crocodile, and I haven't even started counting the birds, but I would probably guess within the region of 15 or 20 different species of birds around this waterhole if we were to look quite hard. This is one waterhole that I just picture would be amazing to sit and spend the whole morning here. So we'll give it a few more minutes before myself and Owen move on and see if we can catch up to where those lines were heading.
So we've now got 4 of the meerkats that have popped out. That sable's moved on. I think he's heading straight down to the waterhole. And in the far distance, we're not going to go there now, but we'll have a look when they move across our front there later. There's a small group of springbuck. I think the meerkats heard them. Okay, that's very weak for this time of the morning, but ooh, I think we're so close to these pups coming out, so close to having these pups coming out. But is it going to be this morning? Is it going to be this afternoon? Is it going to be sometime in between? Well, I guess what's between this morning and this afternoon? It's not much time, eh? It's like 12 o'clock, I think. And again, interesting that they, and they did it yesterday as well. Well, they do it every morning. It's like they often come out together and then they end up sitting at separate burrows. So what is driving that? What is that? And I'd love to know just how many of these individual burrow holes are actually connected underground. Because we know some of them are for a fact. You'll get a little meerkat popping in one and coming out the other. And then, but others aren't connected. Oh, yes, this is cuter. Correct, JP. JP has just said, if it's very cold, they probably wouldn't bring the pups out. 100% right. But this morning is very mild. It's actually a lovely morning this morning. One of the best ones we've had for quite a while. Although every morning is amazing out here. I mean, literally. What we do have and you can't see it now, but in the far, far, far south, there's actually a cold front moving in. There's some clouds building up, but they like just low on the horizon. It's colder weather forecast to come in tomorrow. But it shouldn't be too bad. It'll be a little bit windy, apparently, but I mean, yeah, it won't have a huge impact. But for the little pups, JP, you're 100% correct. If it's very cold, it's unlikely that they'll be, well, certainly not spending any appreciable amounts of time above ground. But you must just imagine how warm and cozy it is down the bottom there. Underground, all tucked up in bed. Thing is, they just don't have coffee down there. Well, not that we know of.
Sadly, the dogs have given us the slip here at Pridelands, but maybe they'll be back this afternoon. We're still looking though. We're driving around the area just kind of circling. So they ducked off into a thicket when they heard one of the other dogs calling, and then it was too dense for us to follow them, unfortunately. So we went around and we couldn't really see any tracks coming back. So I think that they're in here somewhere, but it's a huge area with no roads. But Leopard Dam is just to the west of us. So I'm hoping that if they were successful and did manage to catch something, that they'll maybe come and have a drink here this afternoon. So you can imagine I'll be back around here today. I mean, the other option is to maybe go and walk in, but it's going to take a while. So I won't do that now. This is where I'm super envious of James and Lauren, is because those small little Land Rovers are amazing. They just can go places that this big tank that I'm driving cannot. I do definitely miss being able to slink through all the trees. It was really cool. But we'll just check the watering hole just to see if they haven't come for a drink. Although it sounded like they were drinking at where were they at in Lobby Dam? No, Ruben, wild dogs actually have a lot of predators, but I think the main threat to them is humans, obviously, and then the second one, lions. Lions will kill wild dogs, which is very sad. I know a long time ago there was a sighting on Wild Earth where a lioness had killed a wild dog live. It was horrible. So that happens quite often, in fact. I'm just going to have a little look here and just sit and listen. In terms of hyenas, not really a threat. Hyenas and wild dogs constantly have a go at one another and chase each other around, which is quite funny. And then I'm sure if a leopard, a big male leopard, got hold of a dog, they might try and kill it too, but I think that wouldn't really happen. I don't actually know of any recorded cases of that, but definitely lions and unfortunately people. So from human-wildlife conflict, dogs are notorious for killing livestock. And then there's lots of poisonings of dogs. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but it's just very sad. So we need to make sure that we look after these animals. But they're escape artists, so it's extremely difficult to keep them in one place. They dig underneath the big game fences that we have, and then, we're trying to protect them and keep them away from communities and things like that, but they always find a way out. But warthogs, hyenas do exactly the same thing, and leopards also, they go straight over the fences or underneath through a burrow, and it's almost impossible to keep them in. Remember, these wild dogs need to travel huge distances. They're constantly looking for food in new areas. And if this is the pack that was seen a week ago at Royal Malawan, that's a far distance, hey? What's that, about 40 kilometers, 50 kilometers away? So, sure. Again, sorry, I have my phone on loud, in case someone found the dogs and dropped a location pin, so I do apologize for that. That's just what that sound was. Okay, let's carry on. No dogs here that I can see. Just trying to think what to do. I might just, oh no, there are wild dog tracks here. Look here. I'm going to get out quickly. I'm going to try and show you one. Where is the I've got all the things retangled. They have come here. Ah, this is annoying. I just think that track is a little bit too close. Here's one. Can you see these ones? I never ever have anything to point with. Let me get this thing. Okay, so you can see that this is the track. This is the back of the pad, and here are the toes, and it's going in that direction. So that's probably where we'll go. Maybe they did have a drink, but we'll just circle around the dam. Now they're completely different from hyena tracks, wild dog tracks. Is that they're a lot narrower. They're not quite as big. Firstly, obviously a hyena is a fairly large animal, and their track is quite symmetrical. Whereas if you look at a hyena track, it's almost like they've got duck feet, if you can imagine that. Their front paws are always pointed out like this, and sort of go down the road like that. But also the back part of the pad is also, it's not straight, it's not perfect like this one is here. But they've gone that way, so I'm going to probably tell Norman, I think he's still driving around, that they did come to the dam, and that we now need to just check this sort of western area. Okay, that is what we shall do. I think I can hear a bushwalk team as well. Ah, very interesting. Oh, here comes, I'm just telling them I'm live. Right, we're going to keep searching, and hopefully we get another view of these wild dogs, or if we go back across to Juma to see what James is up to.
Hopefully indeed. Things in this particular part of the Lowveld have quietened down somewhat since we had our first sighting of the hyena and its friend, the impala. And apparently it has not pitched up at the den yet, which I think is a little bit strange. It makes me think that maybe it was just seeking out the seclusion of maybe the drainage line area, so that those vultures would leave it alone, because the vultures will attract other predators. Other hyenas, possibly bigger ones. That wasn't a big hyena. Not sure who it was. I'm not sure if anybody managed to identify him. Could have been Sutu, who's been hanging around the camp quite a lot. Could have been someone else entirely. And so maybe he's just gone off and found himself a quiet, secluded spot free of vultures. The leopard that killed it may also have been quite close by, but we didn't manage to spot any leopard there. I'm tempted to go back into that area. So we're just going to search around here for a little while in the east, and then we might go back. In the east we haven't managed to find so much as a bird. Ah, right, so Chris Rogue, you did identify that hyena as Cacao. Thank you for that. So I would be surprised actually if Cacao took a kill back to the den, simply because I think it's a fairly low-ranking male, therefore would have no particular reason to take it back to the den. So possibly just seeking out shelter away from the vultures. Oh, there's a bird. Quickly, BK. It's a hornbill. Can you see it?
Got it.
Elisa, would hyenas eat the stomach contents of a prey item that other predators do? I think what you're asking is if hyenas will eat the stomach contents. They will not eat the... no predator will eat the actual contents of the stomach, so they will empty it out. They'll break open the stomach, it'll leak out onto the ground, and then they will eat the intestines and the lining of the stomach, absolutely. But the actual inside of what's in the intestines and what's in the stomach, no predator will eat. So you'll often find, because it's grass, you'll find it in a pile next to the carcass, and once the carcass is gone, you will actually be able to see the stomach contents. So they will definitely eat the gut, but they won't eat what's inside the gut. Lions, leopards, the same thing. They'll all eat the gut very happily, but they will not eat what's in it. And it's often some of the most disgusting things you can see out here is when a predator does have a go at the intestines, they get covered in this evil smelling muck and and then eat the gut. I remember Hosanna once, as he was a male leopard we used to watch quite frequently. Well, I mean, he was just our very favorite. And he'd climb up into the tree and he would bite on he bit through a piece of the intestine and it sprayed this muck all over his face, and his whole face was green, and he kind of spat it out, and then he ran the intestines through his teeth to squeeze out the nonsense, and then he swallowed the intestine. It was well, I wouldn't say it was an appetizing thing to have seen, but very interesting. Fascinating to watch, because you read about it, but you don't often see it. Now remember, we were talking a while back about the difference between the lockdown period and the non-lockdown period, and a lot of people have asked me over that period whether I think there has been a change in animal behavior. Oh, no, look quickly back to TAYLA.
Hallelujah! I'm so happy. So we weren't too far away from those dogs. We've literally driven maybe 200 meters from Leopard Dam off to the west, and there are the wild dogs again. So that's good. So they're still very active and looking for something. Yay! I can't tell you how excited I get when I get to spend time with wild dogs. And also, Gert has never seen wild dogs hunting before. So this is also a very special moment for him. And he's been in the bush and working on and off for Wild Earth for over 5 years. Let me go up and around the bend for you. So this is really awesome. So it just goes to show, even though we get to spend a lot of time out in the bush, you don't always get to have these magical sightings. So I am just as chuffed as Gert, and I would very thing so that we can share this moment together. This is so great. It all comes together. It doesn't look like they've eaten anything yet. Otherwise you would see their faces and their necks stained with blood. And they don't have any big bellies yet either. But they're still chasing impala around. But there's also a lot of duiker and steenbok in this area that we're moving into. Not that either one of them is difficult for them to catch. I just feel like they're a little bit uncoordinated today. So they charge in, and then the impalas obviously all, explode and go in different directions. But there hasn't been one moment where one dog has zoned in on one animal and then chased it. So obviously an impala off the mark is quicker than a wild dog, but the wild dog's got the stamina to keep up. So that's normally what you'll see, is that they'll see one individual and then they go, right, that's what we're going, and they keep up and chase them. But it's just been interesting. So the impala don't even run far. They just kind of like explode and then go a couple of meters away and then stand and watch. But we'll try and keep up with them. Luckily, I'm just trying to think, we might have to go around. So this road bends around. We should get them again. It's just no real, no clear view, so that's fine. So they're almost heading into the area where we had that female leopard and cub. Andy, you're very funny this morning. You said, who let them out? Who let the dogs out? I shouldn't sing. I've been musical TAYLA all day today, actually. I woke up with a Mamma Mia song in my head, so that was a good time. So we're going to just head around here. We should catch the dogs in just a moment. Let me do that. And I'm so sad that they haven't been successful. But fingers crossed. Luckily for the dogs is that these days are so nice and cool. If this was summer, I'd be in shorts and a t-shirt already and probably sweating a fair amount. There's a big impala ram. Yes, impala ram. If you want to run here, that might be the last thing that you do. That would be a good meal for those dogs. I think a duiker and a steenbok's a little bit small. That's like just a mouthful each. If they could catch a big impala ram, they're definitely, or even a ewe would be fine. they could settle down for the rest of the morning and just rest up a bit. They're just up ahead, so they're going to cross the road. Okay, I don't know if we're going to get a nice view of them. Let me just stop here. Maybe they'll run into that gap, hopefully. No, don't go that way. Come off to the right. Sorry, we're going to watch them. Now, Damari, you're just 11 years old. So this is very normal for wild dogs to be active at this time. So they typically hunt during the day. However, if there's light available and at night when there's lots of moonlight around, they'll do that. I'm going to go back onto this main road. I think it's too thick for me. So they definitely will hunt there. And then, you know, when I've seen most of my sightings I've been in when wild dogs have made a kill, very early in the morning, just as the sun is rising, and then as the sun is set behind the horizon, and that last light, they typically hunt a lot then in the crepuscular period too. But remember, they're still predators, so they still take advantage. The problem is that if they are actively hunting at night, they're competing with things like hyenas, lions, leopards, and the others. So it makes sense for a smaller predator like this to utilize the day. Now, I'm going to head up ahead. I'm not sure where I'm sending you to because I couldn't hear properly, but off you go.
Hey, look at that. Standing up in perfect formation there. All 6 of the adults were out just now. About 5 minutes ago, all 6 of them were out, but split up, and now these 4 have come together. And just out of interest, remember I mentioned the cold front that's moving in, the clouds on the horizon? That front is actually approaching us now. It's been dead still this morning, not a breath of wind. And in the past 3 minutes, literally, this breeze has picked up. And it's quite funny because Jean-Andre took his jacket off about 5 minutes ago. And the temperature's now actually starting to get a lot cooler than it was a couple of minutes ago. So that front is definitely on its way. So that, I mean, there'll obviously be an impact on these meerkats. But again, this temperature, the ambient temperature is not bad. It's not, even with this breeze, I'm not saying it's getting freezing cold and, you know, these meerkats aren't going to do anything or the pups aren't going to come out. I really think these pups are on the brink of coming out these burrows. You know, whether it's this morning or this afternoon or tomorrow, whatever it is, but they are very, very, very close to popping out. So, and this, I don't think this front's going to be a bad one. We'll show you later. We made this little square of cleared sand next to us, and we've had a little bit of activity over there during the course of either yesterday afternoon or last night. Nothing mind-blowing, but we'll show it to you anyway. Ooh, James, there's an interesting and a difficult question to answer. James has asked, how do we know how do the meerkats know when it's safe for their pups to leave the burrow? You know, why I say it's a difficult question is, well, because the meerkats can never be 100% certain. You know, just the nature of the wild means that however good their eyesight is, however vigilant they are, predators have also evolved in these systems to be able to catch things like meerkats. So the meerkats could come out and they think, okay, they look around, they check, all right, nothing's dodgy is going on here. They come out and before they know it, there's a caracal that's grabbed one of them or a wildcat that they didn't see. That can happen. But I think, you know, taking that into account is like, well, the group vigilance is the group security. What do they say? The strength of the pack is the wolf and the strength of the wolf is the pack. And I think that's exactly the thing with these meerkats. They come out, they can do as much as they can do in terms of vigilance. And if they're not seeing any obvious signs of danger, then the pups will come out. You know, that's as much as they can do. And of course, there's a big difference even there in terms of how long they're going to keep those pups out. These initial stages, they're going to be out on the burrow system out of the burrow for a couple of minutes, probably at best, and then they'll be down again. And then later, as it builds, they'll spend progressively longer periods of time above ground.
A very relaxed steenbok on quarantine. I think this is the same one we see. I can't say for sure, but I think this is the same boy that we see in this area on a daily basis, which is so lovely. And Dylan was talking about being vigilant. This little guy will have to be extra vigilant. He doesn't have a herd. He doesn't have friends around him who can also look out. He has to do everything on his own. But by living out in the open, in an area like quarantine, it's perfect. It means he can see far. Always listening. Always smelling. Always looking. It's windy today though, and wind can normally make all the antelope species very nervous because it affects their hearing. They can still hear, but they're not able to entirely determine the direction of the sound. It causes a little bit of sensory confusion. And the reason I think it's the same individual is A, it's very relaxed, and B, steenbok are actually highly territorial, unlike impala. Their territories are small. They can be as small as 900 meters squared, which is really not big, but they're very, very territorial. And within their territory, they'll have high quality food. See, always looking up. They normally share their territory with a member of the opposite sex. They're a monogamous pair, but they're rarely seen together. They do live a very solitary existence. But the individual of the opposite sex will assist in defending that territory. Should we try and move forward a little bit, Davi? Vic, you're saying you can't get over that cute little tail. The fly swatter. Isn't it so cute? And it's always curled under, just like impala, protecting those sensitive regions. Okay, we're just going to try and go forward. This could go wrong. We're just going to give you one last view of this gorgeous steenbok. Now we're coming to the latter part of the drive, so I am heading straight to the hyena den, and let's hope this time there'll be some hyenas.
Welcome back, everyone. We just left the lioness now because we were trying to find some cheetah. Luckily, we managed to find some cheetah right here in front of us. If you look direct, we can see one of the heads sticking up of one of the cheetah cubs walking towards his mom. Because it's quite windy here, they're a little bit nervous. So, because they're not sure what's coming around. They actually got a kill here. Looks like an impala kill. But because of the wind, he's so nervous. As you can see, she's just stood up and checking every now and again. So we'll see how it goes as we are here. We're trying to keep a little bit more quiet, give a bit more chance to relax a little bit. She's got two cubs here with her. I think as you can see where other cubs are, that's where the carcass is. We're trying to see if we can get a nice view from that. They're trying to play with the sister or brother, but the mom should keep on checking around, because when it's a windy day for them, any movement is a threat for them. It's a cute face for the little one. Lovely spot. Look at that. Look at that beautiful face. And the calf's going to hide away from that. Wow. Disappear one of the calves for now. Yeah. As you can see, the grass is totally different from where we are earlier on with the lions. So because we just crossed over this mountain range, we come around this area. Looks like we're totally different in the different countries, but we are exactly the same area. It's just a different weather. It's unbelievable how windy this side over this mountain. But it's beautiful sun. Yeah, and it's just because of that windy. Yeah, so lovely to see them anyway. Wow. Yeah, any windy day like that for the cheetah is not a great day, because especially when she have the baby like this, she have to check every now and again to make sure that the baby are all safe. In terms of like big cats like lions or leopard, or anything can kill the baby, she's just making sure nothing comes. She's a good mother. As you can see, she's not like taking it easy, everything, and also disappear and up again. So I missed it linking to her.
I'm ticking all the antelope boxes here. This is a gorgeous male waterbuck who seems to have, well, taken up ownership in the waterbuck world of Ruatela Dam. He's very relaxed. He's a really relaxed waterbuck. And I think his territory, because male waterbucks always encompass water, believe it or not, in their territory. And I think this is the new territorial male of Ruatela/Gowrie Dam, whichever name you want to use. And Harry Kirkman, who was the first warden of the Sabi Sands, actually chose the waterbuck as the emblem. So the emblem for the Sabi Sands is the glorious male waterbuck. I mean, it would be rude not to comment on that love heart nose. Completely unfazed by our present. Oh, they're Emma's favourite. Yes, they're one of mine too, but I have many favourites. And if you look at the hair, it's very, very shaggy, like an Inyala. It's very long and it doesn't look like it's sort of equipped for the summers out here. But the hairs themselves are actually hollow, just like a polar bear's. So it's long, shaggy hair with a sort of hollow inner part. And this is so that during summer, they don't get too hot. If the hair was completely solid and thick, then they would most likely overheat. But the fact that the hairs are hollow means that the hairs themselves are really efficient at releasing the heat and helping cool the animal down. But during winter, the chilly winter mornings and evenings, the hair will of course retain heat and help keep the animal warm. We should probably just tick the Impala box, Davi, and at the same time we can then tick the wildebeest box because everybody's here. They all love hanging out together. Emma's saying we can go home. Yes, I think we should. We've ticked all the boxes. But it's said that of all the antelope species, since we're talking of antelopes, waterbuck are actually the most responsorial. They have the highest death rate of all the antelopes. Inyala sparring can also be can be fatal for many males, but waterbuck are said to have the highest death rate, or the most deaths. Can be very vicious with one another. You wouldn't think so, looking at this glorious face. Bobby, you're wondering if we ever see, fights between species. So that would be interspecies between maybe the impala, the wildebeest, and waterbuck. And no, we don't. They're not competitors. They're all herbivores, and they all specialize in slightly different aspects of the vegetation. Impala are mixed feeders, wildebeest are grazers, and they can assist one another. So a lot of animals can benefit from the other animals' presence. For example, impala are fantastic at spotting predators, and not only that, but they will really alarm call. They'll really shout so loud when they see a predator. And the other herbivores in the area can benefit from that. It makes no sense for herbivores who are not in competition over the same resource to harm one another or fight with one another. So you don't really see them interacting. You just see them sort of hanging out, shall we say, side by side. So since I've ticked all my antelope boxes, I'm hoping to tick my hyena box for the day, but we are going to send you back across to Dylan with his meerkats.
I love the way all these little meerkats are lined up here. And Jeandre is not going to move it just because it's so close to him, but there's a meerkat. In fact, I guess there's a meerkat right in front of him. Right in front of him there. It's popped out of a hole, probably 2 meters, 2 yards. Yes, we put in a huge amount of effort, and I know all of you that have been with us have been very, very patient with us spending all this time at the meerkats. I mean, they are incredibly fun animals to watch. They're incredibly charismatic, but still, we have put in a large amount of time with this group. But what I'm seeing from here, that's exactly why we put in the effort, and that they become this relaxed. And if we could have gone the other route. We could have said, okay, well, let's leave them until the pups came out and then started. But I think our viewing wouldn't have been anywhere near what it is. And the next step is to actually start joining them when they actually go foraging. But that's a totally different ball game in terms of sitting with them patiently at a burrow like this and actually following them while they're foraging. But we'll get there. We'll work towards that. We'll build towards that over the coming weeks. Looks just so cute the way they lined up here. Yeah, pup time is close. Roshni has just asked a great question there, and these are the really fun questions. Have there been any other sign of animals around the burrow since we've been monitoring it? Roshni, there's been a lot of porcupine activity. I wouldn't say every night, but regularly there's been porcupine activity, especially around these burrows closest to where I am now. And then a lot of smaller things, a lot of birds, ant-eating chats, duckops, or what's the thickneys, spotted thickneys is the new name for it. So like a lot of bird activity. and rodents, little mice. I'm guessing these are probably gerbils. Those tracks are incredibly difficult to identify. You can tell it's a rodent, but it's a smaller rodent, because remember, porcupine's also a rodent. And then we have brown hyena that's been passing by on a fairly regular basis. But something leading on from your question there is, one of the things that we were discussing this morning is it's incredibly, I don't want to say rare, but it's very seldom that we'll actually get larger herbivore tracks over these burrows. And that may, this is our hypothesis, that may have something to do with animals' awareness of the holes, difficult terrain. So, with these burrow systems, that they are prone to collapsing. So it could just be that animals don't want to walk over these burrows because of the fear of them collapsing. They're not worried about the burrows, but leg injuries. Over here, and later as the meerkats move and settle, we'll actually just do a quick, have a look at some of the tracks under. But there's actually there's an ostrich that walked straight over these, between the burrows over here. So that's quite interesting. I mean, that's a large bird. But certainly in terms of tracks, nothing untoward or that I would see as a obvious threat to the meerkats or the meerkat pups.
Welcome back again. As you can see, guys, there's cheetah still right in front of us. One of the cubs has moved out of the way, but you can see the different size of mom and a baby. Quite nice, small, but they're still checking around. As soon as the wind picking up again, they're just making sure there's nothing coming without missing it. Now you can see all three of them. This is a mom and two cubs. Yeah, it's very windy. Shame to see the cubs a bit more nervous, which is not normal when it's windy like that. Normally when it's windy like that, they'll be like more scared, checking, because they've been so many through difficult time between lions and leopard, so they're always alert of anything like that. Always depending from the genetic. Some are very light in the gene, some are very dark. So when they're small, they'll start black and white on the back. It'll be more white, and as they're growing up, they come back to the normal genetic color. Some are very dark, some are very light. It depends. Veronica. There's one is coming towards his mom now. Yeah, they're still more fluffy, these young ones. So look at them there. I'm a bit more nervous, which is not good. Yeah, trying to get themselves out of the way of this windy. You see that little one standing right in front of the carcass there, the small one. But doesn't want ready to feed because they keep on checking around. Oops. Just going back to his mom again. Because they have a kennel around here. So, excuse me. Yeah, they will stay in the long grass if it's a couple very smaller than that. But because they have a kill, that's why they are hanging around this tall grass. Which also protection, yes, is one of the reasons they will prefer long grass like that. Especially mom with the young baby cubs like that. She needs a good cover for the other predators. Interesting to see they're all looking exactly the same direction. Okay guys, as you can see, mom just fell down again, lie down. We'll send you back to Tswalo to view some meerkat with Dylan. Enjoy the guys. See you later.
Yeah, still no sign of these pups yet. And with this breeze, I think these meerkats might actually leave the burrow system a little bit later than they usually do. Linking on to, I think it was Lauren that was talking about the vigilance and the impact of wind. They're having a bit of wind down there. And with this breeze that's picking up now as well, you can actually see the movement on the grass directly behind the meerkats. And that's actually a little bit sheltered. They're on the northern side of a bush clump over here, so it's a little bit protected from the wind. But you get a lot more movement out here, and that really can obscure and mask the presence of predators, especially your ground-based predators. Your aerial ones, like your raptors, your big birds of prey, well, you know, a bit of a breeze isn't going to make much difference there. But certainly any predators that are doing a stalk, windy conditions are actually very, very, very good for them. So that will just put these meerkats on a little bit higher alert. Be interesting to try and measure. It'd be a difficult one, but try and measure that impact on the emergence of pups. Leading to, I think it was JP that asked the question earlier. It's like, would this cold weather and that affect them? And absolutely it will. But in terms of the wind movement, even if it's a warm day, how much impact would the wind have on the emergence of pups? And because if the adults are more alert, that would definitely be transferred to the pups. There's still a lot of watching down in that quarter, and I'm actually really interested in that because they're probably their greatest risk from where we're standing here is out in this direction here, just because their field of view is so limited over here. They've got a bush clump right behind them. They're looking upslope over here. There's a bit of vegetation in terms of low vegetation, and then more densely scattered bush clumps up this way. Whereas looking out in that direction, they've got a field of view that extends for 800-900 meters with relatively few obstructions. So it's just interesting that they spend an inordinate amount of time looking out in that direction compared to looking in this direction. So what goes through a meerkat's mind in terms of that, I have no idea. So some viewers have asked, would meerkats ever make their burrows on a mountain's edge or the edge of a high point for better visibility? Not so things could see them, but the opposite. And actually what they do, And I know we're not getting a great idea from where we're sitting here, but when you look at them, they normally on slightly elevated areas, and not necessarily because they've consciously chosen an elevated area, the highest point, but with all the sand that gets excavated over years, and literally some of these burrows can be years and years and years old. We've got burrow systems here that I know for a fact. I was on horseback a number of years ago, literally it was probably 14 years ago, and went past the burrow system. It's not a meerkat burrow, but that burrow is still active now with porcupines. So some of these burrow systems can really be very, very, very old. And what happens over time is you get this mound of sand that grows and grows and grows. So there is some kind of raised level to it, but then also with the individual mounds of sand at the entrance of the burrows, they stand on top there to sun themselves, but it also just affords them a better viewpoint. So I don't think, I've never seen any obvious signs of them actually deliberately selecting a burrow location based on visibility. And some of them are, when you look at the location, they're quite obscure. Why on earth would you build or make your burrows in a spot like that? But be that as it may, there are pros and cons. And again, I think the challenge is not to anthropomorphize them and think in our terms. Well, if I was a meerkat, I would have chosen to build my burrow over there. They're not thinking like it, and it really kind of translates into a very, very, very vastly different thought process between a meerkat and a human. For some humans.
Wild Earth relies on support from viewers like you to carry on broadcasting our daily live shows. A small donation goes a long way in helping us on our mission to connect the world with nature. Please visit our support page to see how you can help and become part of the Wild Earth family.
We have not managed to find anything other than a very nice sighting of a Bennett's woodpecker since I last saw you, which was quite pleasant. Same Bennett's woodpecker that was feeding on the ground a little bit earlier. Sort of a few weeks ago. So it's a territorial one that sits on the same patch of ground and feeds there. The Bennett's woodpecker, for those of you who don't know, is a bird that feeds on the ground, unusually. Now, when I last saw you, I was about to launch into a discussion of animal behavior during the lockdown. I'll get it done quickly in case something happens on another feed. During that lockdown period, it felt like we had elephants every single day. Now, that may have been entirely coincidental, but as things have opened up more, and there are lots and lots of landowners driving around in cars, lots more vehicles driving around on this reserve, suddenly there are no elephants. And I'm not sure if that is entirely coincidental or if it is because the lack of vehicles and activity and movement around the place just made it more attractive to the elephants. That was my thought. This little group is huddled together, but I don't think that they are in great distress. Some of them are lying on the ground. Bit of a breeze blowing in. Julie, you were thinking the same thing the other day. There's definitely nowhere near enough data for me to draw some kind of conclusion from it. But it was just, like you say, a thought. We do know that the elephants come and go kind of regardless. But we just had so many of them around during that lockdown period. Every day. Just about. That might purely be confirmation bias on my part, though. It's a very chilled herd of impalas. They should stand so close to us. Some of them haven't even bothered to get up. So we've sort of come back into the area where we had the hyena earlier, and the chances are that whatever killed that poor old impala and bit its head off, literally, it had no head when we saw it, chances are that creature is still around. So we're just going to have a little foray around here before we head back for breakfast. I see that KwaZulu-Natal, the northern reaches thereof, has been highly productive for cats today.
Welcome back, everyone, again. We are still around here with the beautiful cheetahs hanging around next to us. They're just around. If you follow the camp path there, they're just there, just sitting down there. They've been sitting up and down because of that windy we were talking about earlier. Even like a grasshopper, it gives them a big frighten because they don't know what's coming. So we'll just sit here and watch what is going on. We'll see. Maybe if they keep on getting with more nervous like that, we're gonna ending up leaving them with that, because it's not comfortable for them when it's a bit windy like that. Anyway, especially with the cubs, she will need the peace with the cubs so that she can be able to see if there's anything coming around them. So now she's up again. Keep on checking. But yeah, we can see there's nothing really around this place. But never say never. But yeah, it's just windy. Look how beautiful the head shape. And imagine how good the eyesight. If there's anything come around, she'll pick it up like that. Like you won't believe it. She's up again, trying to come back to the kill. It's quite tough to see the kill because the grass. You see where the cubs is, and right in front of the cubs, it's impala kill right there. I think they live on trying to eat. See that one? She's trying to feed now. It's right in there. Wow, it's getting a bit more relaxed now, as you can see. Trying to pull. Wow. Yeah, looks like he's enjoying himself there now. Yeah, look, one is coming too. She wants to come and join his brother or sister. Yeah, keep coming. Yeah, leaping little. Yeah, that's very well. That's awesome. See the mom, she just did it. Yeah, guys, looks like they're having a good time now, this cheetah. Wow, we'll sit there with them, but in the meantime we'll send you across to Dylan with a meerkat. Sound like they're looking for breakfast as well. Enjoy there, guys. We'll see you soon.
So they are slowly starting to move. The little alpha is the one closest to me. That's just moving off here to the left. She's 3 yards from me. Not worried in the least. And this next little one that's slowly walking away now, he was actually the one that was always so nervous. Hey, Mum, are you going to show us your pup sometime soon, or are you just going to keep us in suspense? Yep, how many have you got? You say 5. She says she's got 5. I'm just taking her word for it. You know, we'll have to see. Eh? Sure. See. I'm just looking at the close-up of her claws there. It's very difficult from that distance. But they got these really long claws. Those are really like 2.5 centimeters in length. And super well adapted for digging. Or scratching. Yes. Donna's asked an interesting question there. Could a meerkat survive with a broken paw? Yeah. We've actually seen them here with injuries on their front legs. And they actually can survive. They can, you know, a lot of their prey items it's insects. So even if there's damage, it's not like they've got a prey item that's like a cheetah with a broken paw, for instance, is dead in the water just because, you know, they need that paw to be able to run and chase and pull prey down in it. Meerkats, it's digging, so yeah, maybe it'll take them a little bit longer to dig for something, but they can still do it. So absolutely. But good question. Interesting how they've just got into the shelter of that bush. There is a little individual burrow inside that bush that I see they have been maintaining. But of course the challenge with that for them is pretty much zero visibility for predators, you know, for them to look out for predators once they're in there. But the converse of that, the flip side, is that, well, it also becomes more difficult for a predator to spot them if one's sitting up inside there. But you don't see it all that frequently where the burrows are that obscured. So by a bush like that. So I don't think that would be a primary burrow that they'd be using. They would use it intermittently, no question, but that would not be their primary burrow. Ones like that, you do typically see that though out within their greater foraging area, where that would be maintained as a bolt hole, as an example. So it may even be what they're doing with this one. You see that sand being kicked up inside there every now and again. I'm just wondering what because we know they've been eating these armored ground crickets, probably with long teeth, but they have been eating them. And these armored ground crickets are now few and far between. So if we do see one, we'll maybe say a final farewell to them until next summer again.
I am also looking for an insect. There's a few remaining butterflies of summer in the Mowati. I just had one, and of course it's disappeared. I want to put Davy to the test. But sadly, I can't find it anymore. But going on Dylan's chat about, well, animals being very resilient, they are. And I think we see that. Davy, I don't know if that's a butterfly or a leaf. Let's see. Wowza. That is not a leaf, everybody. It's a butterfly. That fluttered on by. Didn't stay for too long, did it? But animals are incredibly resilient because they have to be. There's no hospitals. Of course, we take our domestic pets to the vets. But wild animals, no pharmacies, no medicine. They just have to survive. The sort of drive in any animal is to survive. And I've actually shared the story before, but I'll share it again. My old beagle got her leg removed, and it was quite severe. She had cancer. The leg was removed from the hip joint, the entire leg. And she woke up the next day a little bit woozy. She let out one big yelp, and then after that, just got on with it. Just continued to live her daily life as if she had 4 legs, and she didn't. And I guess what I'm trying to say by that is animals will do whatever they can to survive. They don't dwell on it. And the hyena, oh dearie me, this is a tricky one. Let's see if I can do this live. The hyena from yesterday will be absolutely fine. The ear was not, it flopped over, but the hyena will still be able to hear. And I'm more than sure those surface wounds will heal. I really am. If the hyena had broken a leg, that would be a different story. There's many hyenas with missing eyes, broken legs in the Masai Mara, and they survive as long as they can still feed and protect themselves against predators. And I think a great example is animals that live in social groups. So for example, wild dogs. There's a wild dog that actually broke, I think it was 2 of her front legs. She wasn't able to walk, and yet she survived and thrived for quite some time because the rest of the pack was looking after her. The rest of the pack always made sure that she kept up with them and they fed her. Wild dogs will do that. The injured, the weak, the old, they will sort of stay, they will be den bound, and the rest of the pack will look after them. So I think animals do have social groups, such as lions, wild dogs. Hyenas, to an extent, will have a better chance of survival because they've got other members of their own species looking for them, looking out for them. There's some incredible examples out there, and that wild dog one, I think, definitely has to be one of the best examples. To have such a severe disability, your 2 front legs don't work, or your 2 back legs, and yet the rest of the pack look after you. It's incredible. Animals will bounce back. There's been lots of examples out here where we've thought, this animal's not going to make it, and yet they do. So just a quick update. We went to the hyena den. The cubs were out. No adults. So we did not stay. We quickly left. But these little cubbies are being very naughty these days. They need to be careful. There was a female leopardess in that area at some point. I just would hate for them to venture too far and end up getting themselves in trouble. So I wasn't able to show you my hyena cubs, unfortunately, but Pinda can show you their cheetah cubs.
Welcome back again, everyone. So as you can see, they just changed the position now. Busy feeding now. The mom even now she's the one like feeding more, letting the cubs as well to enjoy the meat, which is good. So sun shining direct to them, which is perfect too. And yeah, as you can see, they're full of blood on the mouth now, which is they get a bit more relaxed. Mom have to teach the baby, say, stop, I'm eating now. I'll give it a bit more turn to try. Now it's your turn. There we go. The baby's eating now. Yeah, so you have to eat and check every now and again because of that wind is a problem. Wow, look at that movement for the baby. It's so windy here, but they get used to now. Because just after the kill, they don't know what is coming. They know who hit them when they're making the kill. So they have to work slowly and slowly get used to the place. Because it could happen that anything can come around, lion or leopard. And also especially this area is more open. It can easily attract something like a vultures, and the vultures can attract other predators to start follow what the vultures have seen. So they have to be more careful whatever they're doing. Wow, look at that baby, he's enjoying himself now. Michelle, when they're about around 18 to 19 months, yeah, she's gonna let them be independent, do their own thing, and she was trying to find a mate as well, Nisha. Look at that mouth full of blood. She have to check again. See what she did? She opened it for the cubs, and so the cubs can easily eat when there's no skin over there. Wow, the cubs. Wow, look at this, she mud. The way she's eating is unbelievable. I can only see one cub for now. I think one is just right behind them. Right, as you can see, they just settled down a bit now. A bit more relaxed now. We'll stay here for a little while. In the meantime, we'll send you across back to Kalahari into Tshwaro with Dylan. Enjoy that. See you soon.
So the entire group has now tucked themselves deep inside this little thicket. And they are digging like crazy at that burrow. They're like doing a huge amount of maintenance on it. You can actually see that dust and sand being kicked up there. So they obviously have some plan, but I have no idea what that plan is. And it's certainly not impossible that they could actually move the pups into a burrow like that. Or they could just be maintaining it as a bolt hole. You know, if they were moving in from this area, perhaps that would be the easiest one to get into to escape a predator. Yeah, that could well be the explanation there, but there I'm just really guessing. And it's the first time that we've seen them actively digging at this particular burrow. There's been some activity around it, but certainly nothing to what we're seeing this morning, compared to what we're seeing this morning. Christy has just asked, would meerkats groom each other or bond in other ways? Absolutely, 100% they will. That mutual grooming, or what we call allo grooming, is very, very, very important for maintaining that cohesiveness and helping keep each other clean. There's also the other thing that they do is a lot of this play behavior is, it's learning life's lessons, and learning how to hunt and how to fight and that kind of stuff. But that play behavior is also very, very, very important for that social bonding. Yeah, they're getting the scent on each other, so that is very, very key. And then also the use of middens. They'll actually use middens when they're out foraging, so they'll have certain areas where they'll defecate on a regular basis, and that also, by using that same site repeatedly with the different members of the group, that also just sort of reinforces that social bonding, but from a scent perspective as well. So absolutely, yeah. And other behavior, things like group defense. You can get a meerkat that survives as an individual, and it's not unknown. I mean, you get these nomadic males that move around, and they kind of eke out an existence, and they're there, they do it. But in terms of like that group structure is so important, and so even things like defending a territory, fighting off or chasing away other intruding groups of meerkats, although there may not necessarily be physical contact between the individual group members when they do that, but that awareness, that situational awareness of what's going on, that I've got your back, you got my back, we can do this, very, 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 very important. And there's some good lessons for people.
We have got such a beautiful scene. I mean, giraffe have just been providing really nicely this morning. They're all crossing in front of us, and there's just so many of them in quite a tight group. Haven't even gotten the opportunity to count them yet, but we're starting from left to right. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about just under 10 of them. I think about 9 of them in one big group like this. So it's really quite special. 10 with the one that's starting to cross. So very interesting. We've been seeing giraffe all over the show this morning. We must have seen at least 20, 25 giraffe, and this is the biggest group by far that we've seen. And they're the trusty zebras. It's almost like a scene from the beginning of the morning that we showed you. It seems like both the zebra and the giraffe are moving in pretty much exactly the same direction. And I think it's largely to do with the wind. So the wind is blowing from our left to our right-hand side, which means that these giraffe and zebra are facing into the wind. And that gives them the opportunity to smell any potential predators that are up ahead of them. And also, if they keep walking, they'll eventually get towards quite a nice big waterhole that I think will probably be their end targets at the end of the morning. These zebras have taken a pause. They've just noticed us, so they stopped and they're watching us, making sure that we're not too much of a threat before they continue. But that's also such a beautiful shot with the three of them in line, all facing each other, or all facing us at least. And even from here, you can see how different the stripe patterns are. And if you look at the back left of each of them, that one on the far left-hand side has got this very, very broad, thick black stripes with quite thin white stripes in between. The one in the middle's got quite white and black. They'll seem quite even. And then the one on the right-hand side has got much thinner black stripes. I'd love for them to just approach us a little bit. Seems like they've taking their attention off of us, so they must realize that we're not too much of a threat. So I don't really want to move and disturb them, so I'd like for them to come right up towards us. These giraffe are completely ignoring us. There's one that's watching us. GM, you're saying that they should be called the three zebra tears. Unfortunately, a fourth one's come to ruin your joke. I'm sorry. It's quite interesting to see that they're all in one solid clump. And quite often when zebras are moving, if it's a male stallion with his harem, there's quite a strict hierarchy when they're walking, and you can see it. I mean, the one that he's essentially taken over first will be the one in the front, then the second and the third, and then the stallion tends to be at the back. So with the one not moving, I guess they're all just kind of waiting and seeing why she's decided not to move. The Tam's wondering why zebras don't have horns. And I guess they've evolved separately to antelopes, so they're much more closely related to horses. And it's just, I guess they didn't feel the need to evolve with horns. And the way that they protect themselves rather is with the fierce kick and the bite that they have. With those big, powerful back legs, I mean, they can protect themselves quite nicely. And if they connect with a predator, they're quite capable of breaking a lion's jaw or something along those lines. But then also when the stallions are fighting against one another, where impalas and other animals would lock horns, stallions have actually developed a special canine tooth that they'll use for fighting. And as a result, they can sometimes, if they get hold of a stallion's tail, they're quite capable of biting it off. And so although they don't have horns, they've got different ways of making themselves more fierce and more menacing. Yeah, so it seems like the giraffe have moved off where we can't see them anymore. And if these zebras are still waiting for us to move off and they're wanting to cross, I think we'll just keep going so we don't disturb them too much. So whilst we drive away and let the zebras cross the road, we'll send you back to Pinder.
Welcome back again, guys. So we're still here. We're just enjoying to watching the cheetah feeding now. They seem to be a bit more relaxed comparing them from beginning when we started with them. They already feeding now. As you can see, the mom, she's full of blood now. She come with more calm a bit, letting the calves now feeding as well, which is good. So look like we're gonna be leaving them anytime by now. Just let them enjoy their breakfast. So we might check them again this afternoon to see what they're doing. Otherwise, it's a very nice morning for them. Good pausing, beautiful pausing. And the gaga very, that's very true, very true. Okay, guys. Like I said earlier, we're looking at leaving this cat now just to enjoy themselves with their breakfast. We're gonna send you across to with Dylan as well with a meerkat. Enjoy the guys. Catch up later again this afternoon. Cheers, guys.
So here's our little panel that we did yesterday. Been very little activity. Well, there was none yesterday, but then now this morning we've got a couple of different things. So firstly, I'll be very brief about it. We've got these tracks are armored ground crickets, a single one, and they're actually going that direction. And we can go more into that of why we say that. And then over here we got these weird little squiggles. These weird little squiggles. Okay, that could be one of two things: either predatory beetle larvae. You get these caterpillars that live under sand with these big jaws on the front, and that's very, very typical of the lines that they leave. Or it could be an antlion larva. I don't think so at this time of the year. It's probably more likely a beetle larva. And then over here, got another little thing that's popped up over here. This will be a beetle under the sand as well, but one of the caterpillars that's just pushing up the sand around, so they form these lovely tubes under the sand, and then they often lie in wait for little insects that come past over there. So that's that little round thing over there. So that's at least, so it's 1, 2, 3, and then over here we got a bird that had hopped. These tracks are very, very faint now. They're being blown over by the wind. So that's some kind of bird, maybe like a what do you call a white-browed sparrow weaver or something. And then over here we got a very unusual set of tracks coming across, these larger ones. I'm not sure what that is, but it's quite big. You can see there, 4 toes, big, stepping. So I don't know what that is, but that's quite interesting. And so it just shows, I mean, there's a lot of activity that goes on, but it builds up over time. Any questions or any guesses as to what that might be? Who knows? We'll take one guess, and then we can see. Veronica says a genre. Incorrect, but close. Okay, so these are Kalahari hobbits. Kalahari hobbits. This is actually the footprints of our meerkat habituator. She's got tiny little feet when she's not wearing shoes. It's crazy how... Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. That's that. There we go. There you go. So you can make fun little tracks in the garden. Anyway, it's been an amazing morning out. No pups yet, but we are not going to give up. We are super excited about the fact that we know these pups are there. It's imminent now, any day, any moment, and we just hope we can actually share that with you when they do come out. So, yeah, please, you must all have the most incredible day or night wherever you are. Stay safe, and please join us again this afternoon for another incredible adventure. Thank you.